It's the motherfucking MDC.
Holy shit.
So that means you'll crank your speakers up to hear me.
Turn 'em
Ain't
up.
got no time for empathy. Gotta listen to the MDC. Yeah, it's time for the MDC. Gotta roast for these liberal MDCs. Ain't time for the empathy. Tell no lies, tell no lies. Yeah, it's time for the MDC. Ain't got time for all these MDCs. Yeah, it's time for the MDC. Turn up your speakers just to listen to me.
Holy shit, you guys! I'm driving in a car, but I just got a notification that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died! Could this year get any f***ing worse? Ruth, you just had to make it to 2021! God, to people that are pro-life, I f***ing hate you! Why can't women have a abortion? I just saw the pro-life side driving down the road having a mental breakdown. And I just want to say, all you people are you're so f***ing stupid! I get it. I don't like the two-party system. I think our country's corrupt. And quite frankly, I don't want to vote for Biden. It feels like voting for a Republican. But I'm gonna do it. You want to know why?
Why?
Because the alternative is a fascist.
I think the mic's working now.
A fascist is a fascist. Maybe we can have the conversation about dismantling the two-party system when a fascist isn't running. Maybe we can do that later, kiddo.
You guys let me know if there's a... Okay, it's
Maybe we
working
can
now.
talk about it later.
Oh boy. Woo. These bald ones always get me. Look at those tears. Nom 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 nom. Holy shit.
I want. I can feel pain before I'm born. It's a baby.
Jesus Christ almighty.
I wish I wasn't born. You're
Oh boy. We wish you weren't born either.
I wish I had been aborted.
We do. We all wish that.
I have not felt this amount of sinking despair since November of 2016.
Donald J. Trump is now president.
Oh, this is my favorite right here, guys. Boys staying in the middle of DC. Look at this shit. God, I hope Trump wins again, man. Look, it makes me scream. Look at that shit, bro. Like I said, the bald-headed ones always get me. They're my favorite.
I have never seen bleeping like that.
I was violently, physically ill
colored hair
the day after the election.
Oh boy.
I'm honestly shaken to the core with fear.
Well, they're scared. Thank God we don't have to go through that silver stuff anymore.
What have you got, Derek? Nothing! You've got nothing!
Holy shit. You would think with all that cardio she would be skinny.
My rage knows no bounds!
Oh man, guys, that was great. That's, we always like to start off with a good laugh here on the mid check-in. So, guys, I guess now we'll get into the meat of why we are here. We are here to discuss the not only the history of communism, but what communism is, and what it is at its purest form, and what it really becomes. Okay, so communism was a concept that was thought up by Karl Marx and Frederick Engels back in 1848, right? Okay, they came out, which was known with the Communist Manifesto, which I'm sure you've heard your local college student pounding you with it in the head. This is the greatest thing ever, this, that, and the other. So, what is communism? Communism is the thought of no private property and owning the means of production. So that means there are the people who started the companies and all this stuff, they don't matter, right? Okay. And one of the things Karl Marx said, which a lot of people ignore, is that communism, to be successful, has to be committed at the height of capitalism. So you have to wait till all these companies are built and all these people invested all their time and all their money and all this shit. And then the guy who puts the lead in the fucking pencil has to get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars because he deserves it. Without him putting lead in the pencil, the whole fucking company wouldn't be around, I guess. So communism is based on this false ideology, right? That the worker is just as important as the owner. Therefore, they are entitled to an equal share of the profits. Now, if anybody here has ever owned a business, okay, the fucking people working for you, they show up, they work, they go fucking home. They don't give you extra hours for free. They don't bust their ass. They don't invest their own money. All of this shit. None of that shit, bro. They show up like fucking leeches. They suck up your money and they hit the fucking road, right? Okay? And these people come and they tell you, they come in and they tell you, listen, bro, we deserve more because without us putting, the tile in the box or the fish on the plate or the lead in the pencil, dude, without us, this company goes nowhere. And it's like, no, man, I'm just go get another fucking worker, dude. One that won't bitch and complain. But they don't understand this. They get mad when you tell them this. You tell them, listen, this is a job. Otherwise, go start your own fucking business and invest all your money and all your time and all your sweat and blood and tears and all. No. They want your company. They want the company you've already grinded for 10 years to put together, and you're making your big bucks now, finally, after the first 3 to 4 years of not making any money. They want that company. So communism, right, okay, was a theory thought up by Marx and Engels back in 1848. And it really started catching steam around the 20s when it was picked up by Europe. Now, mind you, South America had adopted this early on. That's why, this is not anything bad. No, there is no fucking Central or South American country that you look at that you're like, oh my God, that's fucking somewhere I would move to other than like the United States. You can get the fuck out of here, bro. The closest fucking thing, man, is maybe like Cancun down in Mexico or some shit, man. I go to Cancun. Ain't nowhere else I'm fucking going in South America to move to. And why? Because there is no private property in fucking South America, okay? Everybody can say, oh no, there is, man, blah, blah, blah. When the government shows up in South America and they want your fucking house or they want your fucking farm, guess what, man? It's fucking theirs and ain't nobody gonna fucking do about it. So Europe started to adopt this policy. And the biggest one was the Bolsheviks in 1917, okay? And they went ahead and they got behind Stalin, right? And this is where you have many different forms of communism because it was never done at its purest form. It was always done with a mixture of socialism, which you have Leninism, Stalinism, I forget the other two. But you have all these different variations. So now communism, right? The Bolsheviks revolt in Russia. They seize the means of production, all of this good stuff. Lenin comes to power. Communism doesn't work because it goes against the human nature, right? Okay. We as a genetic people, we want to be superior than our neighbor. The whole saying, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Okay, it's a marketing tool too for companies when they sell their product. You have to be superior. People always want the best product. So with communism, it's much like the same. Communism works if nobody's greedy, everybody does what they can, and they support each other, this and that. Okay, studies have shown humans only care about 150 relationships throughout their life. That's all they carry. There's millions of people out there. We don't give a fuck about millions of people. Come on. I don't give a fuck about all these people. There are very little people I give a fuck about. So when communism comes into play, people get in power, right? And they always get corrupt. So then it changes from everybody gets a slice of bread to, well, my friends and family would benefit if they got 3 slices of bread. So, we got a nice, they're arguing about LeBron in the comments, these guys, instead of listening to some good old communism history, so that way we don't make mistakes again. So communism is this thought, right? And it never works out because you always have corrupt people. So the Soviets fell victim to that. Lenin got in there, and Lenin took power, and he turned around and he said, I'm in the dark, scratch the backs of all my buddies. And then it really took a crazy fucking turn when China was like, hey, this sounds like a fucking good idea. And China, right, under Mao, was like, listen, not only do you need to seize the means of production, anybody who disagrees with you, you got to kill those motherfuckers. And that's exactly what they did. They forcefully oppressed the opposition. Anybody who said anything remotely against what the leading ruling class party had to say was immediately sent to labor camps. They were either executed on the spot, all of this stuff, right? And that's kind of how China's been run for like a really long fucking time. It still ran like that. Just nobody talks about it. They all love China, especially LeBron. And it's just, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Oh man, I think Leo wants to hop on in here and say a couple of cents about communism. So we'll bring Leo on in here.
Oh, hi. How's it going?
What's going on, man?
It's doing good. Engel and Marx had an idea that was more along the lines of trying to create a utopic vision where the government would become the god, because they believed that the instruction of religion and the industrial mechanism of something capitalistic would bring out nothing but greed, because there were institutions that were greedy, that were doing corrupted things. But they believed that creating a government of perfect people, well, guess what? Requires perfect people. That's the fallibility in their argument, 100%. Every time you look, you talked about who would move to South America, and I like that statement. But here's the thing: there was a time when Venezuela was a very prosperous nation, and it was as prosperous as the U.S. So was Cuba at one point. Cuba actually had color TVs before America did. There was a time when it's socialism that has ruined those mechanisms, because what they do is, as you were saying, the guy who puts the lead in the pencil wants to rule the roost. He wants to tell the guy who owns the company how to run the company.
Said, which is beautiful, is that for communism to work, it has to be at the height of capitalism. So it's legit. You have to sit back and wait till everybody gets everything set up, and you have people invest all their hard-earned time and their money and all of this stuff and get these companies going, and then you have to seize it all up for yourself. That's just that's ruthless.
It's to me, it just shows that there is a correct statement. That's the problem with a lot of this stuff. There's a true statement, but it's there's fallibility in the reasoning. The statement is there's broken systems, there's corrupted systems. Let's try and create a perfect system, but we are imperfect beings. We have to create systems that somehow acknowledge our imperfection, and capitalism does that. Not all free market capitalism is probably the main reason you have a extremely leftist corporate America. The reason you have it is because we said, well, nobody will bother the corporations because they're free entities who can exercise whatever opinion they want. Now, when they're not exercising the majority opinion, they're doing what they can. So did the free market help us? Actually, no, the free market hurt us. But there has to be some form of control. That's why when I mentioned on my show, if you break up and you make the government your religion, you're going to end up having this problem that you're saying right now, because that's what communism and socialism, in the end, that's what it is. It is telling a people that that the only moral good is the government. You look at somebody as wide-eyed and nuts as AOC. All right. Everyone's like, how can the same thing? Cori Bush, what happened when she wants to defund the police, but she wants to do what? Give herself security that's 200,000. Exactly.
Yeah, because they know
because
what's going
they're
on.
the moral. They believe that because they're the arbiters of morality, that they are special. They believe that their elitism is because of how compassionate they are for us, while we suffer under their rule.
I like what J Rod said there. Not only do I don't think this country would turn to full communism, but I can tell you right now that this country is already inferior with Biden. He doesn't have to win again for it to become inferior. Right now, we are so weak on the world stage. That's why you have all of these players making moves like they are.
Right.
Well,
yeah, I think the other countries, yes, we are weaker. Our position geopolitically is exceedingly, it's almost laughable as far as how weak it is. Under the Biden administration, we have to realize we're not under communism because our Constitution still holds sway. What we have fallen into is an actual oligarchy. We have allowed our corporate structures. Now, I'm not against small businesses growing in small towns, even medium-sized businesses. But these mega businesses, these mega corporations have taken a hold of us, and they're telling us what to think, how to be, what's going to work, how they want us to behave. We've allowed that. So we're actually under an oligarchy because these are the companies that give to the causes, that give to the policymakers.
Exactly. No, absolutely, bro. I completely agree. Oh, man. Some crazy news we got out there today, though, Leo. I guess since we'll transition out of the communist section, I'll have you help me with the current events going out there. I wanted to touch on how Budweiser and Yingling are going with pro-American campaigns now to combat Bud Light and their tranny.
Well, Anheuser-Busch, as far as like with Budweiser, because Anheuser-Busch owns Budweiser, owns Bud Light, owns all of these different kinds of beers. But they actually, to avoid the idea of being a monopoly, they're cut into divisions, not departments. Bud Light is its own division, and they're literally cutting their nose to spite their face because Anheuser-Busch had the right to tell Bud Light, don't do this.
Right, exactly.
And they did it they brought Dylan Mulvaney in for no other reason but to literally spit on, because that's why that person was brought in. The vice president of operations, she was brought in to do what? To literally, for them to start a campaign against the typical Bud Light drinker.
Absolutely. No, between the beer and then gas is going to go up again. With all this stuff, we're in some dire straits, especially with China teaming up with Brazil and Iran to buy that big ass oil refinery for $12 billion.
Well, it's the same thing with the fact that we cannot find a way to get into a good agreement outcome with Russia. Russia is the geopolitical leader of gas. Their GDP is terrible. Like Florida's GDP is higher. But they are a country that they are a gas station in the form of a country. And so that's how they're making their money. That's what they're doing. But because, and it was kind of crazy because in 2017 and in 2018, we were actually the number one producer of
oil. We were
oil
the number
and
one
natural
exporter
gas
under Trump. Yeah, we need him back, man. We need that Trump back.
I think we need more conservatives like him. We need more Reagan-esque, more DeSantis style Republicans. We need people like I said. I've always said good things about Trump as far as his presidency is concerned. He is a good president, but he he kept making it about himself. His ego really got in the way of a lot of different things. When he could have just let things go, he kind of makes it about himself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, man, Brian, sorry to hear that, man, that the gas is all gone. That's how it started in Venezuela, man. I'm telling you, we got to make sure we get that fucker out of there this time. We can't let them cheat. They cheated us last time, man. You know, tell me Joe Biden got that many votes, man? Come on.
I can say he got that many votes because, unfortunately, okay, I'm gonna give you the George Carlin version of what of voting, and basically his philosophy on voting was this. He goes, "We watch Jerry Springer. This is the people on Jerry Springer are the above average citizens because average can't get in and below average can never get in. Below average and average citizens are watching it on TV, getting ready to vote. The sensationalism that was behind a lot of what COVID did, all of that, I believe that the election was rigged to sway the public opinion because rather than bring in facts, as the fact is that we have a very corrupt president. I've often said this as far as my conspiracy theories, you know, they kind of fly around a little bit, but I think him acting demented and delirious is an act. I think it's an act. I don't think it's really, he's so corrupt that I honestly believe that he's lying. There's got to be a point where he is just hiding his actual, like, there are times, yeah, I do believe he's not. He's out of it. He's out of it. But then there are times, yeah, that I think he's making it up because he really doesn't care. Him talking about ice cream after the Covenant school shooting was him just literally being like he doesn't care. And the media was like, well, you know, he didn't know at the time, blah, blah. He knew. He just didn't care. Honestly, he didn't. I
agree. You know, and speaking of conspiracy ideas, you know, for our final segment here, I got to ask you a question, Leo. I got to ask you a question, man.
Man, I just walked in.
Somebody was trying to tell me this, right? And they actually believe this.
Okay.
Do you think there are spy drones disguised as birds spying on the United States public?
I think that would take way too much manpower, and the government doesn't like to work that hard. That's the only that it's just like maybe in like the 50s and 60s, but no, right now everything is. I don't believe in spy pigeons more than I believe it's just easier to get a drone, set it over a neighborhood, and then you can literally like set it on a building and it can capture with a mic. You can literally get a positional mic and record any kind of data you want.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's even easier because through Pegasus, you get spam as a text message, and all of a sudden, it's the NSA listening on your phone. And we know that Jeff loves listening in on our conversations, don't we?
Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes.
I think let's talk about Jeff for a minute. Hunter and I would have conversations, and when we were spot on about something, all of a sudden our phone would cut off.
The phone would fucking all of a sudden just go out, and that was that, bro.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you, Leo, for joining me, and thank you, everybody at home, for joining me. You know what that sound means? It means we've had enough fun here today. So thank you guys, and make sure to tune in tonight at the PGW 7:30 and follow us on Instagram.